Check.
How y'all doing? You can turn that off. They want to hear me, not the music. Yeah, they still want to hear me. Ain't that right, y'all? Don't y'all want to hear me? That's what I thought. Y'all want to hear me. You want to hear no music. It's about the same. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. That's what I ain't gonna do. I'm trying to keep y'all here. I could hold a note. One day I'm gonna surprise y'all. When I'm done, y'all all gonna have candles and flashlights. All, yeah. Y'all all gonna be up there just be looking crazy, and they're gonna be looking like this. It's gonna be all over the place. Just lights. I'm gonna do it one day. When, that's when y'all know the Holy Spirit and got a hold of me. Yeah, when that day comes, y'all gonna be shocked. Y'all gonna fall out just because of that alone. Yeah, I ain't gonna do that. How y'all doing? Y'all good? Everybody got anything they want to share? Anything good, bad happen? Anything make you mad? Anyone make you mad? She said, yeah. Oh yeah, I understand. Anyone? Y'all ain't got nothing? Nada, huh? Y'all ready for the fast? I'm gonna ask y'all that next week when you're hungry. Yeah, when you hungry. Yeah, we start the fast at midnight. Midnight, 21 days. Was that the what day did I say? The 17th. That Sunday at midnight, 17th of March or 10th, whatever day that is. I look on in. It's yes, yeah. It starts the 25th and it ends on the 17th. Ends tomorrow's your birthday. Oh, and y'all 43 anniversary. Wow. How you pull that off? How you pull that off, Norbert? You hustled Paul, but you did that because that means you get double gifts. Wow, that's a hustle. So yeah, you set it up good. That February, you just broke. You done in February, Paul. Golly, that's a good hustle move right there. That's a good hustle move. Anybody else got anything? That's good. Congratulations. That's good. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. 43 years. Ooh, Lord. That's a whole lot of dealing with. One, that's a lot. Yeah, for real. That's a whole lot of dealing with a person. You got to really love someone, man. You got to deal with a whole lot of stuff. Yeah. Wow. Anybody else got anything they want to? Paul and them to drop the mic or no? No one else got anything else? Good. Okay. All right. We're gonna continue. I think tonight will be the last night um, for the discussions. Um, next Wednesday, what I want to do next Wednesday is to kind of sum up. No, I don't want to sum it up because I want to try to start summing it up tonight. But next week, and I'm hoping people come. Next week, I really just want to pray. That's all I want to do. And we can talk, but I really just want to pray um, for people who are still wrestling with some stuff, people who haven't let some things go, some of you who may be in touchy situation. You may even know someone that's in a touchy situation. I just really want to pray next week, though. I want to talk, but I really want to just pray next week. Because it doesn't help, in my opinion, to talk about all this stuff and don't pray about it. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I think I want God to really deliver some of you, deliver some of us from some of the things that are hurting us. Because people who have been R. Kellys in our lives, they're still the same person. They still doing things to people. Yeah, I'm saying that because y'all know if y'all probably been watching the news. Y'all see he in some trouble again. He about to get they sent this stuff to a grand jury over another tape that came out. Yeah, and this girl's 14 years old. That's an old tape. It's old because it was a VHS. So old. It's crazy. But you know, I wish Adrian's here. Adrian said something 2-3 weeks ago that has stuck with me. We were talking about the whole Facebook thing and about, you know, the online dating and putting your stuff out there. And man, I wish more. I'll bring it up again though. But when she said that, you know, she has stuff that's out there. And you think about that for a second. That's why you can't be, you got to be careful, y'all. Real talk about what you put out. I mean, whether it's a comment that you made or it's a picture, you have to, because that stuff comes back and haunts you. Look at that governor up in, was it Virginia? No, it's Carolina. Is it Carolina or Virginia? And one of them pictures that came up, him with a black face, and now his political career is on lifeline right now over something that happened in the 80s, and guess what? It happened here in San Antonio. That's where that picture was taken. Well, no, not the picture, but he did a dance competition here in San Antonio when he, I guess, covered his face up again in black with Michael Jackson, you know. But it just goes to show that you can't be. That's why I keep telling y'all, as a Christian, you can't just be putting anything out there. When people post stuff, you don't always have to comment, because you never know what may come back later on, because you may be against something today, and then later on, your stuff come out, and now the very thing you were against, they go back and pull it up and say, well, you weren't against it before. You weren't talking about this before. You were with this before. I'm just saying you got to be careful. I'm not saying not to do it. Do whatever you're gonna do, but be smart about it. I mean, ever since she said that, I was like, man, that's a true and a powerful statement. It's out there, and I don't care if you push delete. If they want to, if somebody really is good at computers, and they want to find some stuff on you, they gonna pull it up. Trust me. You wearing something crazy, they gonna pull that up. Man, I had a friend of mine. This is crazy. I had a friend. Someone that I know, who's a friend of mine on Facebook, who's a minister, a preacher, and he and his wife and some friends went to Jamaica, right? They taking all these pictures. Boy, let me tell you something. I said, man, this real talk of this. That was one of the preachers here at God's Word. They won't be preaching here no more. Let me real talk. I mean, they were taking pictures like they were models. I mean, he wearing his swimming trunks, and she got a real provocative bathing suit, thong, everything. I mean, just showing. I mean, everyone just showing it. Yeah. Just showing, yeah. Just, I mean, he, you know, all her is just showing. I mean, just all out there. I'm like, man, are you serious? Like, how can you expect for anyone to take either one of y'all serious? And y'all out there just taking, I mean, those are like, those what they call private pictures. That's those late nights when we alone, reminiscing pictures. You understand? One of those I need a boost pictures just for me and you. You understand? I'm keeping it real with you. But I'm saying it's just crazy because as Christians, you can't do that kind of stuff. You can't just be putting stuff, oh girl, we look cute, oh man, we look good, let's take this. No, don't do that. Because you may think it looks right, and then you probably do look nice. That's great. But it's not for everyone to see. It's just not. I mean, y'all could call me old-fashioned. I call it having some common dang sense. Yeah, you and D. Go ahead.
No, like Tamika just said, you better just take a Polaroid.
Wow, that's a good one. Polaroid. You gotta shake it. Some of y'all don't know about no Polaroid. You can't shake it too long because it mess up the ink. You got that just enough. Oh man, go ahead, D.
Well, I was gonna say that, just like, with what happened with Kevin Hart with the Oscars, the community went after Kevin Hart about something he said 10 years ago, and you have a society that wants you to accept change, but they can't accept that he's changed. They're judging him on something he said 10 years ago. He's a comedian. And, a guy made a point. I was listening to a show today, and the guy made a point. He said, well, if you held every comment that a comedian made, Eddie Murphy would have never made a movie. Because Eddie Murphy's first stand-up was so raw, and he went after all kinds of communities, and he said all kinds of things, but they pick and choose who they're going to pick on and who they'll forgive and who they'll let get a pass.
Right. I need a pass. I need a pass. I hope, Lord, y'all don't never pull no stuff up. I'm just playing. No, please help me. Please don't let them find it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Pastor, I was talking about those pictures. Remember the Polaroid, the land cameras?
Oh.
You didn't shake them. You put them up under your arm. You did. You had to put it inside of a color. Yeah, and you had to put it up under your arm for it to develop.
Wow, that's real old school. Boy.
Just like Betamax.
Like Betamax.
They had the laser disc, big old album looking like big 33. Then they came out with betas, the tapes, betas, and then they came out with VHS. That stuff is still out.
Well, some underarms that probably don't need to be under some people underarms. Some underarms just ain't right. You understand? You understand? Some underarms just ain't right. Just saying. Them things probably broke. Got into some people's stuff. All right, so tonight, I'm gonna talk about this briefly because I kind of want to go back and see what else y'all want to go back and talk about. But tonight I want to talk about self-esteem issues. I think the reason why some of us are we stay in some friendships or romantic relationships, or we stay in some stuff that we probably shouldn't stay in, is because we have low self-esteem. And I think at some point, all of us in here have experienced a time in our lives when you just felt, I just can't do it. Or you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I don't like what I see. I don't like the way my body looks. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't like the way my eyes look. And you just think that no one else wants you. You have nothing else to offer. And you beat yourself up. And a lot of us are afraid to get out of stuff because we feel that if I leave him or her, who else gonna want me? Based on what I see. Because if I see me, and I don't like what I see, chances are he or she is not gonna like what they see either. And I think a whole lot of us, even in churches, have issues with having some type of low self-esteem. People can really make you have that. People can beat you down. You can be a Coke bottle figure, and still have low self-esteem? Come on. You know what I mean? Millionaires that have it all really don't have it all. They still question. Yeah, he got some self-esteem issues. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who are rich that you think on the outside are like, man, you got it going on, and you have no idea how they still don't believe in themselves. You probably saying, how can you not believe in yourself when you have all this money, bro? You still can feel like you're nothing even if you have it all. You can. Okay, let me ask you, y'all looking at me like, how many of y'all in here have ever had to battle with low self-esteem? Just raise your hand. Yeah. What kind of stuff did y'all battle? Anyone who raised their hand, can you share? What kind of stuff did you battle when you say you have low self-esteem? What was it? Those of y'all who raised your hand, anybody, if you feel comfortable to share. What made you feel like you had low self-esteem? Go ahead, Tamika.
I had kind of shared this at the women's retreat a couple of years ago. I think it was last year's, or 2 years ago. And when I had initially lost my weight, I had lost like over 100 pounds. So like literally a person. And I felt really good about myself, but I had received a lot of comments, and quite a few of them came from people in the church that basically said, like, I looked like I was sick, I looked like I was on drugs, and that I had gotten too skinny. And it really did something to me. And I know that some people are kind of saying it, just like joking, but after hearing it week after week, it really did something to me. And I ended up, and I still kind of have an issue with my weight where I go up and down because it's like I start to feel like I'm doing good, and then someone will say, you're getting too skinny. We like you better when you're heavy. And it's like, but I feel better when I'm skinnier because I know that I'm healthier when I've lost this weight. So it's still something that I deal with.
Wow. It's pretty heavy. Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, I used to struggle with low self-esteem real bad. I used to always seek approval, from people, and I used to always just have that mindset that, if I don't hear you say, you did good, or if you don't compliment me on doing something that I did, I would feel real low. You know what I mean? That just stems from my childhood. Like even from when I was a kid, that's what I used to look for, and I never got it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I never got that. Like you're a good dude. You know what I mean? I never got that. But as time went on, God started dealing with me. I think we talked about this in Sunday school one morning, and I shared that, how that was like a weight to me, to always want to feel accepted. That was like a huge weight, and it would weigh me down because my day was always dictated based on how somebody else viewed me. If they saw me in a good way, my day was good. But if they saw me in a bad way, my day was bad, And I just had to grow into that point to where God just had to start dealing with me and had to elevate me, beyond that. Now, I can move on regardless of how a person feel or think.
Right. Yeah. That's and I think you said something, Tony. I think that's the thing with a lot of us. We want to please so many people, and you can try your best to please people, and they still won't be pleased. No matter what you do. And look, let's be honest. A whole lot of us, I'm gonna open up Pandora box right now. The reason why so many of us have low self-esteem because it started at home. Started at home. Your mom or your daddy told you something, Why can't you be like? Why do you always have to do like? Why do you dress like that? Why you can't clean like him or her? How come you don't make the grades? How come you don't study like? A whole lot of us had to deal with that. And that's the reason why so many of us do have this issue with not feeling that I can do something. Or you were with someone, and I don't care if you were with someone in a relationship when you were a teenager, whenever you were, and somebody in the relationship you were in told you something. You're not that pretty. I can find someone else. You're like, dang, I'm not that pretty. You were just with me. I don't like your hair like that. You putting on a little bit too many LBs. Why you going bald? I like you when you had waves. Well, the waves are gone. They turn into ripples now. Who had the mic? Who had Oscar, and then my fellow Lonnie.
I remember what you were saying earlier about you wanting to please everybody. I remember when I became a team leader, like 4 years back. I wanted to be pleased. I wanted everybody to accept me. I wanted to be liked by everybody. But I came to a point in my life, and I expressed it to Tony because he felt the same way when he became a team leader, and I had to, let him know, like, you don't have to please everybody anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can just be you. People are not gonna like you for who you are, regardless. You know what I mean? They can smile on your face, but they can, talk behind your back.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean? So,
Yes, sir.
I've always liked to be liked by people.
Right.
And I know Tony expressed to me that he said the same thing.
Right.
But I kind of let him know, like, you don't have to worry about that no more. You know what I mean? If they don't like you, they don't like you. People like you, cool.
Right.
If they don't worry about it. Keep it moving.
Just
You know
keep
what
it moving. You know what though? And, let's be honest. I want to be honest about this too. Let's be for real. I mean, you're right. We shouldn't try to always please people, but I don't. And it drives me crazy when people say this. We all want to be liked. Don't this stuff. I don't care. Yes, you do. Who don't want to be liked? I'm not trying to say that's it. You want to be liked. Everyone wants to be liked. Yeah, you do. Now, I'm not trying to say go out your way and act a fool for folk to like you. But you do want to be liked. I don't care what they think. Yes, you do. To a certain extent, yes, you do. Y'all get on my nerves sometimes, too. I'd be like, I don't care what they think. And then my mama, yeah, I do. Like, dang, God, why? I really don't want to care about what they think, but I do. I mean, real talk. But there are times when you have to make decisions that you do have to say, I don't care. And guess what's going to happen? Some people ain't going to like you. And when they don't like you and they get mad at you, that's when you should not allow that to mess with your self-esteem. That's you saying, I'm not going to do it because you want me to do it. Sometimes you just got to be that person. Like, I'm not going to do that because you just think you know what I know. I got some sense too. But we all want to be liked. I want to be liked. I do. I ain't going to lie to you. You too. Why you looking at me? Shoot. Like he want to be liked. That's why they did that for him Sunday, because he telling them. Because he want to be liked. Go ahead, Lonnie.
Yeah, I struggled with that, with low self-esteem.
I wouldn't have nothing if y'all liked me. Man, so what that mean? Hold on, Katrina. Oh, okay, you fixed that. You fixed that real good. You went from like to love, real okay. Go ahead.
Yes, I struggled with low self-esteem for over 46 years.
Wow.
I was stuck, in the same circle, you know, and I came out of it. It didn't happen at home, you know. Christ had everything to do with it, you know, for me to come up out of it, you know, and you know, I never was able to interact with the caliber of people that I really was supposed to be interacting with, you know.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I come up out of it, and it's been all good.
Wow. And I'm glad you brought that up too, Lonnie, because when you have low self-esteem, you resort to another lifestyle too. You will. You'll go off and get involved in something that you know that it's not, but you do it because it's like, look, I'm hanging around more people. I'm hanging around the same people like me. At least we all have the same thing in common. Because guess what? You know, like for Lonnie, you know, when you be around the same people who have something in common with you, guess what? The one thing we will never say, you and I got something in common. We both got low self-esteem. Like we ain't gonna ever create no group called the low self-esteem group. And we be all happy about it. Who wants to be a part? I'm low self-esteem. You too? Come on, let's be a part of this group. I got red on my, can you change battery? Go ahead, Deb.
You know what I was going to say? Well, I think everybody think I have a bad attitude anyway. Because, no, and let me tell you this, and I really don't care, and that is the truth. He'll tell you, I say it all the time, I don't. Because the one thing that I have found out in life, you could stand up on your head, make somersaults. You will never please everybody. So you know what I say? To H with it. I love the H out of some Angela, and later for everybody else. And that's no really. And I mean, hey, you know, call it what it is, but that's how I feel. And I'm real. But it's the truth. I don't care what you do. There are people who are not just going to like you. I don't care what you do. You could be the nicest, kindest,
that's true.
sweetest person on God's earth.
They're going to find something to say.
Somebody's going to find something. You know what they're going to say? Oh, she's doing that for show. She just do it. So, hey, love you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I believe what you said about it starts at home. And I truly believe, even going back to listening to some of the first Bible studies, there's a direct correlation between growing self-esteem in your children and them ending up with somebody like R. Kelly. Because I can say, and then not only that, hurt people as parents.
Yes.
Because I can say for me, there were a lot of things that were said to me when I was younger, and I didn't understand where it came from until I became an adult and was able to have conversations with my mother. You know, those comments of, why do you walk like this? Why do you talk like this? Why do you carry yourself like this? You're never going to be anything because of this. You know, and so it's just like having those conversations and not realizing she was doing the best that she could at the time, but she was hurting.
Right.
And she wanted us to do and be in a better place than where she was, but her way of getting that point across was very hurtful. And so then what happened was, for me, because I didn't feel loved and accepted at home, as soon as I found that out in the world, and in most cases it was in a sexual nature, you latch onto it because it's just like, this person loves me. This person accepts me. This person thinks that I'm beautiful. And so, you know, it's just like, it can be unhealthy, and it can be something, 9 times out of 10, it's something that you shouldn't get yourself tied into, but because you've never felt it before, and it feels good, then you latch onto it, and it's just like, I want this feeling.
Right. Good point. That's right, Tony. Good point.
Yeah, I agree with you with you know, when you're not receiving it at home, you're going to go out.
Yes.
That's why I believe a lot of young men are going to the streets nowadays, because I was one of those kids. You know, my mom and dad, they're like real old school, you know, not too many generations from the slavery time. But, no, I'm serious. My dad was 82 when he died, so what that tell you? That's a long time ago. But the thing is, they was raised up under those
Right.
strict principles.
Right.
So they kind of brought us up like that too. So, you know, I never did hear my dad or mom say, you know, I'm proud of you.
Right.
You know, I never heard that my entire life
Right.
until I was incarcerated. But I didn't get it at home. So when I left home, you know, I was hearing it from the wrong place. You know, what I was seeking for 18 years. When I got a chance to get out the house, I was hearing it from the wrong place, and the people in the streets was encouraging me, like, yeah, boy, you know, you this and you that, and it made me fall in love with the streets. You know, and I think that's what's wrong with a lot of our youth. Sometimes they're not receiving the encouragement and uplifting at home that they should be receiving. You know.
Right. You know, I think one of the I see. You know, one of the things I think that I think we've all heard, and I hope we don't do it, is whether it's with our kids in particular, but just in general. You know, when someone says you did a good job, but just leave it at you did a good job. Because as soon as you say but, now I'm focused on after the but, and I done forgot that you told me that I did a good job. And we do that a lot. Like, no, just hey, look, even if you know that your child or your coworker or whoever messed up, just tell them, hey, look, you did a good job. We can deal with the but part another day. Because all some people need is just a little bit of encouragement. That's all. That's all. I don't need to hear, I like your shoes, but, you know, head not quite right, you know. I mean, you know, you gotta, well, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hawk. Yeah.
No.
I'm just trying to be real with y'all. Laughing at me all the time. Stop laughing. I'm just trying to. It's the truth.
No,
that's what we say, though.
That's real talk. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, Pooh had called me from school, and you know, like you say, encourage your kids. And you know, I was like, "What you doing?" He's like, "Oh, no, I just came in from studying." You know, I was like, "Well, that's great." And I said, "So what you doing in your room?" He said, "Well, I'm in here making some beats." I said, "Wait, you do it?" You know, but I'm like, making beats, I ain't never seen you do no production or nothing. But, you know, I never knew you was into it. He's, oh, no, I'm going to be the next producer. But before I shut him down, I had to check myself.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
He could be the next producer.
Right.
But if I don't encourage him, but I did to make sure your grades and your homework and stuff is done, and then you work on your beats. That's good. But like you said, now if I just shot him down, I could have shot his dream down. Who knows? In 10 years, we could be at the Grammys or something. I don't know. But like you said.
Nah, you wouldn't be because you didn't believe in him.
Yeah. I'll be there. I'll be there.
Think about my sorry daddy who's at home.
Yeah, my sorry.
Didn't believe in me.
But that's real talk. We got to encourage our kids no matter what their dream is.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay, from online it said, we all want to be liked, and truth be told, it's driven us all at some point to make some bad decisions.
Who said that?
Silky Roo. It said it's I think that's Z.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
He said,
Z, tell us it's just you, man.
It's
hey, Silky Roo. What is that
it's
your stage name, man? Go ahead.
Now up, Silky Roo.
He says it's big for men being H. I'm assuming this is hoish, and women wanting a lot of man attention. And then Minister Alfreda said most people with low esteem tend to congregate or join like-minded people. It's a point of wanting to belong. Definitely starts at home.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Silky. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lucretia. I used to call them Sweets. Now you got that new name, Silky.
Call him Ashy Larry.
Yeah.
Just to kind of go off what Tony was saying, my grandparents weren't too far removed from slavery time either. Seriously. But anywho, I
Too
think
far from
sometimes
slavery. That
not
sounds crazy.
Seriously. But I think what we talking about?
Self-esteem. Lord have mercy. I would say something bad, but I need to build up your self-esteem.
Okay, I'm back. Self-esteem.
Yes, self-esteem.
Self-esteem can also be generational.
Yes.
Because like for my grandma, she wouldn't allow the grandkids to call her grandma. They call her by her first name. And we never knew why that was. And listening to some of the stories, I think it's because she was a nursemaid. Or, you know what I'm saying, for like the Caucasian babies, and that's what she did. It's not the only thing she did, but that was like one of the things that she did. And so after she had kind of nursed and raised all those kids, because my grandma had 17 kids. Wait, 15 kids. And one died later on. But after doing that for so long, nursing other people's kids, you don't have that emotional connection with your own children.
Wow.
And so I kind of watched my aunts, and uncles go back and forth in relationships and all that stuff. And I would hear the rumors about what was going on and all that stuff. But I noticed that with my father, we actually had, that father-daughter connection. So he kind of like broke that for us.
Wow. Go ahead.
And kind of along those same lines, I was raised by my grandparents. I didn't have my mom or my dad. And so my grandmother was old school, but there was a lot of things she didn't teach me about being a woman. It was just, I don't know if they didn't do those things, or just like shaving your underarms and different stuff like that I didn't know. And so once I got to college, my girlfriend, who is still my friend, my best friend in the world, friends over 30 years, I attribute a lot of my self-esteem coming from her, because she taught me like, oh no, you don't buy those cheap underwear, we got to go get you some. Wow. But my grandmother was fine with the package that came from Walmart or wherever, whatever was cheap. I don't buy those anymore. No, I'll admit that. I moved up from that. But she taught me about shaving my underarms and just presenting myself as a woman. And so again, like I said, a lot of that growing up with my grandparents was just old school.
Wow. Go ahead, Katrina.
The self-esteem issues with me didn't start at home. It started at school.
Yes, good place.
Yeah, because I got teased a lot about everything.
Yes.
The shortest one in the class, big eyes. By the time I was in 4th grade, I was developed. I mean, I just got teased about a lot of things. So I had to make myself overcome that. Then I got the stares and looks, because I built up my self-esteem because I wasn't gonna let anybody tear me down. And to this day, everybody, like you said, likes to be liked, but I don't really care, Pastor. I can be 450 pounds, no teeth, bald head, and you know what? I'm still sexy and I'm still fine. I'm still good looking.
Oh man, all right.
It don't matter to me what
Beauty's
you
in
think.
the eye of the beholder.
It don't matter no more.
It's in the eye of the beholder. If you say you fine, then you fine. I might not think so, though. If you think you are, then you are. But Katrina, I wrote something down when you were talking. And I'm going to say this, and I need y'all to be honest, 'cause I know y'all probably going to laugh. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to be for real. But I'm sure this will bring up a laughter. But you ever think about them people when you were in school that you used to make fun of, or people used to make fun of, like girls and stuff, like when we were growing up? You'd be like, man, I ain't no way. I ain't talking to her. You like you dated her, you kissed her, she'd be the ugliest one. and now you went to the reunion, you be like, dang. I should have hollered. I should have got everything y'all said. I should have hollered at her. Look at the fine ones are all ugly now. And that one that looked like something that just crawled out is bad. Y'all, you ever, real talk, you ever just gone back like, dang, how I missed that? Yeah, like, man, I try to tell these young cats now, I tell them, real talk, I'm not gonna lie to you. I told my nephew, I said, look, let me tell y'all something. The ones who are borderline, they ain't quite fine, they ain't quite ugly, that's the one you need to holler at. Because when they get older, you're going to look back and say, I wish I would have. Y'all laughing, y'all, okay. I must give y'all ain't never seen that. That's real talk. That's for real. And the ones that were real fine, that were stuck up, now they self-esteem. Because watch this, here's the serious part. Sometimes you get so vain. Yes, you do. You get to thinking that you all that. Yeah, okay. And then you get older, and you be like, dang, I didn't talk about this girl, that guy, now look at me. Real talk, because you were so caught up in you, and you never heard that you were ugly. Everyone always told you how fine you were. Now you done got older, and they're like, don't nobody want to even fool with you. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Yeah. I should be laughing at you, but I am. Who is it? Oh, Dominique? Okay, go ahead, Dominique, and then Katrina.
So what I was going to say is that I remember when I was younger, my mom would always tell us all how pretty we were, but then I would go to school and I would always get clowned on about my forehead. Like they would, yes. So it kind of broke me down, and I would go home and my feelings would be hurt, and I would be crying, and my mama would say, you need to suck it up. You tell them that you are pretty. So I think when you say that we want everybody to like us, I think that's to a certain extent, because sometimes you have to put on that defense mechanism,
right.
so that they know that you're not, it doesn't break your self-esteem down,
right.
Because I feel like if you let it get to your head, like in that case, that really could have tore me down. But because I had my mom, she was always telling us how pretty we were, so that really built me up. So like, I really don't care, like if, like for a slight second, I'll be like, oh yeah, I do want them to like me, but then it just like, I'm like, well, whatever, they, whatever. I think the older you get, the more you be like, I don't care. I do think so. You okay with your forehead now, though? Okay. I was gonna make sure, because if we need to build you up, we gonna build you up. Like Dominique, your forehead is normal. You got a normal forehead. Even when you slick it back, it's normal. We like your forehead, Dominique. You got a great forehead. Hold on, we didn't hear him. Give him the mic, give him the mic. Y'all, at the end of the service, y'all encourage Dominique. And y'all tell Dominique, we like your forehead. So then, my mama used to make me wear a ponytail back here.
Oh, so I was right.
With the baby hairs. Yeah, I'm like, girl.
So that's why your forehead was way back. Yeah, I understand. We're going to help you tonight. I think that's still in you, though. I think you still got a little bit of issue with your forehead. So we're going to help you with your forehead tonight. Go ahead, Katrina.
Well, Dominique, don't worry about it, but we're going to start us a forehead club.
Oh, boy.
Me and you.
Oh, man. I love y'all. Y'all good to be around. Y'all make a brother feel good.
But, Pastor, you know what? You're so right, because my 20th year class reunion, I saw a couple of people, and it was like,
there it is.
Hey, and there was one young man who I had a crush on. He was like, hey, Katrina, what's up? He said, you look nice. He looking me up and down. I said, yes, I do, nigga.
Sweet. I don't know about this church. Drop the mic.
Now you getting all racial and stuff. You don't get the mic no more tonight. You done got racial. That means you must have liked that he hurt you because he didn't fool with you. Yeah. We're going to help you tonight, too. We helping Katrina tonight, too. Boy, this one here, boy. She just had to say that last part. Wow. Boy, y'all something else, boy. Ain't nobody like God's way, yo. Y'all a piece of work, boy. Yo, boy, man, oh, man. Y'all act like, that's cool, though. Y'all act like me, though. Y'all don't care. Y'all just say whatever the heck, but that right there, she done had to throw a little N-word in there. Boy, someone changed the subject. Okay, go ahead. Boy, Katrina. Katrina. Go ahead. Golly.
I would say for those who do struggle with self-esteem, because I did for a while about a lot of things, just be patient with yourself.
Good.
And just grow out of it naturally, because I know for myself, I tried to force myself because I felt so pressured, like, oh, I don't have self-esteem, I gotta have it. But it's something you have to be patient with yourself and love on yourself and continue to work on those things that you don't like to improve them, and just be patient, and eventually you will grow out of it.
Good for you.
And for me, it was my weight, because growing up, my family members, certain ones would always say something about it. And it's like, well, I'm not dumb. I have 2 eyes. I can see myself. I don't need you to consistently remind me. But I've just gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm comfortable with who I am. And my goal is not a certain weight, is to be healthy. That's right. And so many people put so many pressure on this whole weight thing. But the way I see it, if God wanted us all to be a certain size, he would have made it. Everyone is different for a reason. And as long as you're healthy, that is what matters.
That's right.
That's good.
Amen.
Good for
girl.
you. I
Amen.
think that's if it was almost over, I would say we end it right there. Yeah. We'll talk, 'cause that's the truth. I think all of it. You do gotta love yourself, and you gotta be patient with yourself. I mean, especially, if you're trying to either gain weight or lose weight, we all know that is not happening overnight. That's going to take time. And guess what? And if you don't, it's okay. You still got to love you. You do. Now, the other part of that is this, and I really believe this, and I've always said this, that's why you should be very careful what you say to people. You should be very, I don't care what it is. Some stuff you just don't say. Because you don't know what you're about to say, how it affects that person. To you, you think it's innocent. But to that person, it could trigger something. That's why I don't joke with people with their weight. Because they may be ha-ha, and then they walk away from me, and then like you, they feel bad. Yeah, because truth is, why everybody else is talking about, well, there's a whole bunch of people who are in shape, who go to the gym all the time, and look here, you still ain't got it right. And there's a whole lot of us who gain weight, and we good. It go both ways. But you have to be careful what you say to people, because just because you think one way, it may very well mess that person up. Like when I talked about, I like what you got, but your hair. That could really be like, well, dang, I thought my hair looked good. In their eyes, they really thought that they looked right, cute, whatever you want to call it. And now you done shot it down because you just had to say something. Just be quiet sometimes. You don't always got to say what's on your mind. You don't. You pick and choose. That's what David said, Lord, guard my mouth. Real talk, because sometimes, yeah. Go ahead, Katrina, I don't know. Oh, yeah, you might. You might not see, there you go, see. Yeah, you can say that too. Yeah, I done picked up some weight, but yeah, you look good. And then when you walk away, say, Lord, forgive me for just lying. Because you know and I know that they don't look right. They look pretty unhealthy, matter of fact.
Oh, my God.
But I didn't want to tell them that. But you knew I was lying when I said it. But you're right though. I mean, but you should do it. But in your mind, you come on, y'all. We be like, no, yeah. But then you walk away, you be thinking, no. Forgive me, Lord. Go ahead, Lynn, and then Devin. Y'all crazy. Boy,
growing up, I had 3 brothers, so I was always the princess in the family and everything. Yes, I really was. But because of my relationship I was in, my husband started putting me down about my weight. And so he would really say ugly things about me, and I never had a self-esteem issue at all. But then I kept thinking, is something wrong with me? And then I sat and thought one day and was thinking, I said, he's the one with the problem. Because he would tell me, he goes, nobody's going to be interested in you. And I said, well, let me tell you something. Don't get it twisted. Men do flirt with me. And then he would look at me and he would just, but it was him. But his thing was he had to put me down.
Right. But you know what, though? People, let me tell you about that. People like that, watch this, they're really talking about themselves. But they don't want to say it to themselves, so they say it to the person who's closest to them. That's really what it is. Real talk, I'm telling y'all. They ain't trying to make you feel good or try to like build you. That's the truth. When someone is always on you or telling you you're this and you're that, they're really saying it about themselves.
And not once did he even compliment me when I lost that 120 pounds. He never.
Of course, because he don't want to, because he's not there. He's not there.
That's okay, but I'm happy by myself.
That's how, yeah, happy all by myself. Good for you. Good for you. I just need you to leave me alone sometime. She didn't hear that, did she? I said, I need you to leave me alone sometime. That's what I said. Go ahead, Devin.
No, I was just going to say also, I think in dealing with a lot of our youth, that's where my heart is dealing with the youth, because I think getting to the root of the issue.
Yes.
But representation is so important, because I know that was something that I struggled with when I came up. I went to basically almost an all-white school, where I was one of the only. You know, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. You know what?
I'm messing with you. I'm in a good mood tonight, y'all. Just go ahead, Devin.
this guy.
Go ahead.
No, so I did. I went to a school where I was one of the few,
right?
One of the only. And so to be in a situation where either, you know, it's just like you sitting up and talking in class and something comes up about black people and everybody turns and looks at you, you know, or you're sitting up there and you're the only one who doesn't have a date to the homecoming dance because they don't want to be the one with the black girl, you know. And so it's just like until I went to a black college, and then it was a completely different experience. Wait a minute. But it was a completely different experience to be around people who looked like me.
Yes.
And so even with building, you know, we talk about our young girls, and we talk about them here, even growing up in San Antonio. I know that most of the people in this church are, you know, brown or black, but when they go out there, like I teach at a school where I think I might have 2 black females. And so when I'm talking to them and encouraging them, and then they ask me like, well, why don't you cuss, and why aren't you yelling, and things like that, and I have to show them that that's not black. That doesn't have to be your definition of black. You know, and so it's just building that in them and teaching them that it's okay to be who you are, I think is going to be so important in developing the self-esteem of so many of our youth.
And you know, I was messing with you, but it's true though. Sometimes some of our self-esteem comes because it's a culture shock. Because we're trying to fit in. And we don't know how. It doesn't always have to do with race. It can be social. It can be at your job. You just try, and you don't know how to fit in with people because you're not like them, or they're making you feel like you're not like them, or you can see that you're not like them. And sometimes we don't know how to adjust. I remember I mean, some of y'all probably heard when Obama was running for president, he talked about that. And because his grandparents raised him. His grandmother and his mom raised him. They were white. And he even said, I need to find out the other side of me. Because he didn't know the black side of him. So when he goes to Chicago to match, he was like, man, a whole lot of people that look like me. Probably trying to figure out, how do I fit in with people who look like me? I mean, that can really mess a person up. But again, though, too, that's one of the things, because one of the things, in my opinion, that I've seen even more people who are mixed. We're starting to see more and more mixed relationships, more and more mixed children. And sometimes, even in that, they trying to figure out who they are. And as a society, we still need to let them feel important. That you're different, even though you may be different, you still bring something to the table. Make sense? Who else had the mic? No one else had the mic? No? But yeah, but I'm glad you brought that up though, Devin. And even with Lynn's situation too, because, you know, I really do think that a lot of reason why some of us really do have self-esteem, a lot of it, the majority of it, in my own opinion, comes from physical. Like physically, we don't like the way we look. And we don't feel like we're attractive. We don't feel like no one's gonna look at me. And it can bother you. I mean, for real, man. I was in high school. I was like a toothpick. Literally, I was like, now, what the heck then happened? Huh? What'd you say?
I like that.
See, but when you leave, you're gonna say, yeah, pastor's words came back to haunt him, because when you leave, Katrina be like, yeah, but he can stand to lose. Give me 21 days. 21 days, I'm gonna get some of this done. Go ahead, Tom.
You know, when I first moved here, right? My environment was military. Was all like her friends. So when I first came here, it was like I didn't feel like I belonged. You know what I mean? I was like, man, all these guys talking speaking all these big words. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, everybody say like they had it going on. So that security, I mean, my level of security had went down, like crashed. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, my baby, she told me one day, she was like, look, if you can't be you, you know what I mean? She was like, if you can't be you, we don't need to be together.
Yes.
You know, and you know, I kind of started getting better at being who I am, you know, because when I first came here, like somebody would ask me, whatever. But I remember when people used to ask me, you know, where have I been or where I'm from, you know, I give them like a whole big story, you know what I mean? Like, hey, yeah, I used to live in Atlanta. I was telling the truth, you know what I mean? But I'm telling the truth, though.
You were in Atlanta. You just didn't give the address.
Yeah, I just didn't give the address. Yeah, and I was in a gated community. You know what I mean?
Man, that's jacked up.
Yeah.
That's jacked up in a gated community. It ain't all wrong. Boy, y'all some rough crowd, man. In a gated community.
But serious, I used to literally like be so afraid to tell people I had been to prison.
Right.
Because, you know, one guy told me, he was like, you know, one of her relatives told me, he was like, look, you don't need to be telling nobody you was in prison. Mm. You know, so I immediately went into another deep shell, you know, like, dang, you know what I mean? I'm surrounded by so many people who are majors and colonels and all that other good stuff. You know, I'm like, they definitely gonna look at me like I'm a piece of garbage. You know, so I had to create a story. You know what I mean? I had to like create something, you know, to feel accepted. But
right.
you know, thank God for my beautiful queen. She was like, look, you ain't got to, you know, please nobody. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Go ahead, D.
Online, they said, Zeno said, hey, I grew up in the Elder Barge days with light skin being in, tough on a brother, hard on his self-esteem. He said, until Big Daddy Kane and others help us out. Minister Alfreda said, culture affects social, and social affects the mental, and the mental affects the physical and the environmental. And Andrea said, so true, Pastor, all it takes is just one person to validate our insecurities.
Wow. You know, no, Zeno had sent me a text. I was gonna mess with him. But I ain't gonna. I'll get him privately. Yeah, but yeah. You know, but for real though, like skin tone, that, you know, depending upon what era you grew up in, that skin tone thing had a whole lot. Real talk. That skin tone thing can really mess a person up. For real. For real. I come in the middle. Cause like I'm like white, dark, I'm kind of Milky Way. I'm kind of in the middle of both. So I kind of made it. But if you were too light, then they were like you on that side. And if you too dark, then you get killed in Saudi Arabia. That's what Brother Vivens told us. The dark complected ones, they get killed over in Saudi Arabia. That's what he told us. They can't marry you, the dark ones can't. See? Mess your self-esteem up. Yeah. See? Oh, go ahead, Mom. And who's that? That's Sharon, right? Okay. Go ahead, Mom.
Yeah, but you know, I grew up in Trinidad, and I am from a mixed marriage. My mom was white, my dad is black. And we grew up.
We black. Mama just tell her black. Power to the people. Go ahead. My grandmama white, y'all. She was white.
But you know, we never felt any different because in Trinidad we didn't have a color barrier thing. It was a class. So y'all gonna really know that I'm a real rebel. When I came to America, my very first job, didn't know anything about waitressing. I worked at Traps. And I wasn't accustomed to the American foods. So they ordered hearts of lettuce. What the heck is heart of lettuce? I don't know. I thought it was the scent of the lettuce. But that's not what it was. So I asked this, I was the only black, first and only black to work at that one restaurant in New York on 58th and Madison. So the two other blacks worked in the kitchen. They were the chefs. So one of them in particular, Gene Weaver, I will never forget him. I went to ask him what it was. And this little white chick was standing up there in the line. And she was talking to somebody else. So I just went around her because I just needed to ask a question. And the heifer had the nerve to tap me on my shoulder. Yes, 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 yes. And she says to me, don't you see the color of my skin? Boy, and that tray, and I returned around. And if it hadn't been for that black guy, I would have knocked her out. I wasn't accustomed to it. And we came to America in the height of the civil rights movement. You know, I wasn't accustomed to it. And then you tell me about, don't you see the color of my skin? And I'm watching on TV dogs biting black folks. Oh, no, it's a fight on. No, 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 no.
You should just told him. You got some white in you, too. Should just told him. My mama white, I got a pass.
I'm going to wait for you outside. No, no, no. I used to fight. I won't bother nobody.
Yeah.
No, it's the truth. I never bothered anybody, but if you bother me, you will go get whipped. Plain and simple.
Yeah. You still should have told him.
I never lost a fight.
What was that?
You should have told him.
That was before Christ.
Go ahead, Sharon. Boy, this group here tonight. Go. Wow. Go ahead, Sharon.
So I don't know if anybody watches the show Blackish, but they had that topic on the show. They called it colorism.
Oh, did they? Wow.
And so it was about the mother. She's mixed. She's black and white, and her husband is black. But her oldest son is really, really light-skinned, and then her youngest daughter is really dark. And so they were talking about, because Anthony Anderson always makes fun of them because they're light-skinned. So basically saying they're not black enough. And so the whole episode was around that topic. Like, well, you know, you say we aren't black, you always make these jokes about us. And then the dark-skinned girl was having a problem because she's the darkest one in the house. And so, and the way it turned out in the class picture that she was up in the corner and you couldn't see her because the lighting wasn't right. And she goes to a predominantly white school. So she kind of got shadowed out in the picture. So that's how the topic came up. But anyway, it was a good episode, and it really dived into the whole colorism and how it actually happens in the black community.
Yes.
And it still does.
Yeah, yeah. Self-esteem. It messes people up. It really does. Someone else had their hand up. All right, let me just give you some of the reasons why people have self-esteem, low self-esteem. You hate yourself. You're obsessed with being perfect. Don't like your body. I like this one. You think you're boring and you bring nothing to the table. Oversensitive, not easy to handle criticism. One thing about people who have low self-esteem, you gotta be, it's almost like you gotta be careful with them. I mean, once you know that someone has low self-esteem, you do gotta be really careful with them, because any little thing just, yeah, they go from here straight down with a quickness, because they can't handle hearing anything negative. But you know, for some of us, because we met each other when we got older, a lot of us, even as adults, don't realize that there's some of us who grew up at a time or in our houses where that's all we heard was negative. That's all you heard, you know. And for some, they still cannot handle hearing someone tell them something negative as an adult. As an adult, it's hard. As an adult, it's hard to deal with. Someone brought it up earlier, you're a people pleaser. Yeah. Some of the issues that cause low self-esteem, being called names by your parents, like stupid, idiot, fool. Called stupid and lazy by teachers. Yeah. There's some people who really don't have no business teaching. That's for real. Some people should not be teaching our kids because they're really messing them up even more than building them up. Feeling ugly compared to other people. Some people because of a handicap, literal handicap. You know, whether being in a wheelchair, having to use crutches, someone may have Down syndrome, something like that. There's a lot of people who struggle with that self-esteem issue. Not having money, house, a car like other people. Yeah. Now, I'm always one, Greg talked about it on Sunday, you know, don't want what other people have. But you do feel some kind of way when you reach a certain age and you don't have what you should have, what you see other people your age having. You feel like you're less than. Whether it's a car, whether it's a house, degree, you may not have it. Your friends have it, you don't. and you feel some kind of way because of that, or being in a group of people who have all this kind of stuff. You know, I remember when I first started hanging around other preachers and stuff and going to these meetings and stuff, I always used to feel like, man, I had no business being up in here. Like, real talk. I was like, man, I'm just listening to this doctor so-and-so, doctor this. I'm like, man, I had no business being here. I don't compare to none of these guys. That's real talk. That's I was like, man, I don't believe it. I don't belong in this group. And I had to get to a point to where I had to accept me for me. But real talk. Because I knew that if I kept on trying to compare myself to them, I wouldn't progress. You know, I just came to a point to where I just say, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm not gonna try to preach like nobody else. I never have in the first place. But I'm like, man, I'm not gonna try, because I'm listening to them and I'm like, man, look, y'all got all that, and y'all's way of thinking is just off. So I don't want to, that's what all that gives you. I don't want that. Just give me what you gave me, God, and we can work this thing out together. But sometimes we feel that we have to have what other people have in order to feel relevant or to be validated. You know, God is the only one that can validate you. God will give you the stamp of approval, and he don't care what your background is. How low you are, how many times someone told you were low and you would never be nothing. As long as God, that's why I love that scripture when Jesus gets baptized and while when he comes up from the water, the Bible says that a voice from heaven came and said, "This is my son, in whom I'm well pleased." In other words, look here, Jesus, I don't care what anybody else is going to say about you down there. I'm pleased with who you are. And that's how we all have to feel about ourselves. Even if people are not pleased with you, your Father in heaven is pleased with you. I know some of y'all saying, well, that's different. Nah, man, that's the only person you need to be concerned with. Because no matter what you do, folks going to find something. Something. Man, it does not. You can, man, it's so true. You can try to be as nice and as helpful. Someone's going to find something negative to say. And I try my best to be kind and helpful here, but at the end of the day, I already know someone's not going to like me. I'm going to do something that someone's not going to agree with. I'm going to say something that someone's not. And look, if I try to sit there and please everybody to help my self-esteem, I go crazy. You go crazy too. If that's your focus, is to always look at me, please. Because they're not really helping your self-esteem, they're helping themselves. Because you're acting and you're doing what they want. I was looking up in the Bible, I said, man, I need to find some folks in the Bible who had low self-esteem. They turned out pretty good too. Moses, he had low self-esteem. He did. He said, I'm a stutterer. I can't do this. How do I stand up in front of Pharaoh? Elijah, remember that? I preached about it. He went from one chapter, he had just did something great, and in the very next chapter, he fell into depression because he had low self-esteem. Jeremiah had low self-esteem. David, he had low self-esteem. Who else? Y'all name some more people in the Bible who had some low self-esteem. Solomon. Yes, Solomon had low self-esteem. Who? Samson had low self-esteem. See, y'all read. I'm glad. Ruth had low self-esteem too. Yeah. Now, this is real talk. I mean, but look at all those people's names we just mentioned. They all turned out okay, didn't they? If they turned out okay, and they didn't please Moses, well, them folks didn't care about their self-esteem. He wanted to quit. He over here hitting rocks. And him and God arguing back and forth. See, Now, I bring those names up in the Bible because guess what? If David, Moses, and Elijah, if all of them relied on people to build them up, they would have been killed themselves. That's why so many times you hear in the Bible they had to talk to God. I think that's why God, when Joshua took over, he told Joshua, he said, look, it's almost as if he's saying, look, before you fall into this self-esteem thing, in Joshua chapter 1, he says, be of good courage. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. Just in case you start feeling some kind of way, Joshua, I got you. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say there was a coach that said something to my son. I think it was his freshman year. I don't remember, but kids remember that. And you know what he said to my son. That my son will go through the wall for his coaches, but this one coach, he ain't gonna do nothing for that coach ever because, 8th grade. This coach, you know, you have to know how you speak to children and encourage them. And all kids don't respond the same way. And sometimes coaches and teachers may think I can be a dictator or authority figure and I can say whatever, but kids, they remember that stuff. You know, and it can either break them or it can mold them to be great. You know, but I think, you know, as we've said, you have to be careful what you say to people and how you say it to people because it does have an impact.
Yes, it does.
You know.
Yes, ma'am.
And in addition to that, as teachers, you know, they are sometimes that first line defense against
Yes.
low self-esteem for the kids.
Yes.
So it irritates my spirit when I see teachers post things about the students in their classrooms. This one can't read, this one can't write. Oh my God, they're so dumb, I can't believe it. Like, do you understand that you're posting this and somebody knows somebody that knows that child? So you just put all that out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you understand what you're saying and who might see it? So just be cognizant of what you're saying about these students that you're supposed to be teaching, and you're charged with their self-esteem for those 8 hours that you have them too.
Yes. Man, listen. I'm a firm believer. I coached, and to me, teaching and coaching go the same, because you can discipline and encourage them at the same time. Yeah, you can. You can correct and encourage at the same time. Yes, you can. Some teachers don't know how to do it. It's just not in them. Gotta be honest with you, you can train folks. Folk can go through all kind of training. They ain't got it in them. They ain't got it in them. I ain't talking about just teachers, people, period. What they call it, sensitivity classes. For what? Some folk just ain't sensitive. Man, you just came out of the class, man. You just came right out last week, and you talking to someone crazy already. Talking about how they're not doing this and they're not doing that. That's the bottom line. Some people just don't have it in them, and you can't teach someone to be caring and loving and to be careful with words if that's not who they are, period. And some folk, you just for life, I mean, I don't know how some of us even hang with people like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I cringe when I hear other people, and we all mess with each other. We jab at each other and all that kind of stuff, and it's fun. But some people, I cringe that some people almost do it like you knocking their self-esteem down to build yours up. You ever met some people like that? Like they just got to knock someone else down to help them feel better with themselves. I don't get that. Like, you already know how it feels. Why would you want to do it? You know? Like, I'm funny. I don't like when parents try to embarrass their kids in public. Now, I'm going to say this. If your child embarrass you in public, you get them back in public. That's just my opinion. I ain't telling you to do what you do. But I don't think it's cool when parents just embarrass their kids in public and the kid ain't even done nothing. Just so you can try to prove a point. We don't need to prove. We know you're the parent. But some people just want to do it like, yeah, I just want y'all to know this is how I do it. Man, please. Some people do that, though. They will put their kids down, too, just to help themselves look good. Because their self-esteem is messed up. Now, even going in relationships and all that, I'm going to say that I believe this. I believe people who just go from one relationship to another relationship, they got low self-esteem. They got low self-esteem. Because they're looking for some man or some woman to make them feel what they don't feel about themselves. And you're going to be most people like that are miserable. You are going to continue to be a miserable individual if you're trying always to try to get somebody else to make you feel special. You're going to have a rough life. You're going to have a rough life, a sad life as well. For this, I'll say this. You should not care what people think about you as long as you love you. I don't care if you don't like me. I like me. You have to love you and not wait for someone else to tell you I love you. I told y'all, boy, love is a big liar. There's a whole lot of folk, I love you, they were lying. Like your eyes can lie. Love does too. But if you love you, shoot, you can make it. Even without someone else telling you that you're fine, you know you are. Shoot, if you walk in a store and someone look at you more than once, come on, talk to me, somebody. See, I'm going to say what y'all don't want to say. If you look, you know how they do. You in the store, you look at them, and they look at you, they turn real fast. Yeah, you looking at me. You checking me out. I understand. That's just real talk. That ought to help you realize that, look here, you are not bad looking. Because, look, some people like them skinny, some like them big. That's the truth. Thinking rich, okay. Some like just bone and gristle, some like a whole lot of meat. It's the truth. Come on, man, y'all. D, I sent you something. Real talk. I mean, for real. There's somebody for everybody if God has someone for you. Someone's going to find you attractive. But if they don't, the person in the mirror, I find him attractive. I do. I mean, I think I tell myself,